strong to give me what I'm going through. Well, forgive me if I'm wrong.
My name's Gunnar Fondo, and I'm going to talk about something that I've never really talked about before, so bear with me. I grew up in a pretty strong Christian home. I know the basic rules. I knew a lot about, I knew all the stories and everything else about it. And I also grew up being the cool cat. I get all the girls. I had the friends. I was an athlete. So, I was always a pretty good kid. So, I get to high school, and like I said, being a cool kid, being cool, you have to adapt to what's cool, or you get left behind. Freshman year, I was very known. I had all the older girls. I was the first freshman to start on varsity in 11 years at the time or something, so I could get what I wanted pretty easily. But I still remained a Christian. I was virgin till marriage and everything else. My sophomore year, I get there, and I remember two of my buddies were talking to each other, and we were all talking about our sex stories. Well, I didn't have any, of course. My buddy, I remember, turned to me and he was like, "Well, what about you? Tell me something about yours." And I was like, "I'm a virgin." And they laughed at me, and I remember one of them was like, "Man, that's not cool." So, being the cool kid that I was, I had to go do it. So I found a girl, it wasn't very hard to do, and I had sex. It led me down a really dark path. And, at this point, I wasn't praying anymore. I was going to church. I wasn't really listening. So without him there, everything when I got, depressed, I would turn to was sex. And with that being said, that was all I would do. So, my whole sophomore year, that's all it consisted of. After that, I realized that I was going down a really bad path. And that at this stage, everybody was already, had rumors about me, people started, not really respecting me anymore as a person. And I had to really realize what I wanted. So I was like, at the end of my sophomore year, I was like, okay, I'm going to get back into religion. I'm going to start being a Christian again, praying again, going to church some more and stuff. So I did. And it was hard. It was hard for me to stay, so loyal to God and what He said to do and what not to do, because, like I said, it was my norm at this point for sex, for girls, just that was all I knew. So every time anything happened, that's all I would turn to. I realized that I needed to change, but I couldn't do it. I met a girl that is actually my girlfriend right now, Kylie Reed. And she is the girl that I've always dreamed of having, but I never thought I would because of who I was, because of what I've done. I started really trying, at this point we had been together for about 3 months, 4 months, and it was really hard on me because everything was temptation. With her there was no sex, no anything. So everything that happened before I couldn't do now. Apparently I wasn't mature enough, strong enough to be able to be in a relationship like that at the point. So during baseball season, my junior year, we were on a trip to Monroe. We play a tournament there every year. Well, I'm laying in my bed in the hotel and just hanging out with one of my roommates, and one of our stat girls comes in. Well, we start kind of flirting, stuff like that, and my roommate left. So things got a little crazy. We hooked up, we did things, and I felt really bad about it after, but not as bad as I should have felt. So that happened the Friday night that we got there. Monday during school, she texted me, the girl that I did the things with, and she said, "Gunnar, there's a video." Well, at this point, I was like, video of what? She was like, of everything we did. So come to find out, one of my roommates set up his phone before he left, and he videoed us doing the entire thing and sent it to everybody. Well, that got around. Eventually the principal found out. I got called to the office Tuesday morning. I ended up, a lot of things happened, a lot of stupid, immature things that I did, and I got suspended from school and kicked off the baseball team. And at this point, I lost Kylie. She wasn't my girlfriend anymore. I lost respect from coaches. You know, my friends' parents wouldn't let me see my friends because they didn't want somebody like me being around them. You know, my parents were very upset about it, wouldn't look at me much. You know, I would just get home and go straight to bed. I had nothing to do. At this point, I felt like I had nothing to live for. I wanted to commit suicide. I felt like there was nothing left for me. I had nothing left to do. You know, I was a laughing stock at school. You know, I had no friends, no one to talk to. So at this point, I had to come up with a plan. And my plan was, you know, just to get better, get stronger, faster, and get back on the team next year and show everybody what I can do. You know, and at this point, I really blamed God for everything. I thought it was all His fault. I was like, you know, I really tried for you. You know, I really wanted to be that person for you, and you wouldn't help me at all. And, you know, it took a lot of time for me to realize that it wasn't Him that did that, that it was solely my fault, you know, for what happened. And, you know, eventually, as it went on, Kylie and I started talking again, and she wanted to really help me because she realized I needed help. So she asked me to come to our church and talk to one of her youth pastors, you know, and really just talk with him. And I wouldn't do it because I was too prideful, too self-righteous. You know, I thought I could do this on my own. I didn't need anybody. Well, you know, at this point, I couldn't really see Kylie because her parents had found out about it too, and I wasn't really allowed to see her, which I would do the same thing if I was a parent. I'm not saying anything about that. But so I realized, you know, this is the way I could see her. So I came to the church one night, and I talked to her youth pastor, Mike, afterwards. And, you know, it was a lot different than what I expected. I was expecting him to just judge me and just be like, you know, you should have done that. That was wrong. You're a sinner. You need to go to confession, all this other stuff. And that's not what it was. You know, when I told him how I've been trying, you know, doing all these other things to try to, you know, make myself better, you know, try to get back with God. You know, at the end of it, all he said was, I'm so proud of you. You know, for someone to say that, for the things that I did, that was just like, what the heck, you know, I didn't know what to do. So at this point, I was like, that's how a Christian's supposed to be. You know, it's supposed to be love. It's supposed to be forgiveness. And he really helped me through it because he never judged me for anything that I did. He realized where I came from everything. And he really wanted to help me. So he asked me to keep coming, you know, talk to him, gave me his number. And I had to really dig deep and try to figure out what I wanted and what I wanted to do. You know, I wanted Kylie back. I wanted, you know, a relationship with God. To have that relationship with God, I have to give up pornography, sex, judgmental thoughts, hatred towards the people that had hurt me before. The people that, my roommate that had videoed the girl, you know, I had to forgive everyone. And I didn't want to do that. You know, so I ended up, you know, throughout the year, I had, you know, kept talking to Kylie. Kylie had really helped me out. And I ended up forgiving my roommate. And although I haven't talked to the girl that I did the things with since it happened, I do forgive her. And, you know, the hardest part at that point was forgiving myself, forgiving her. You know, I would pray every night and just be like, man, this is my fault, I'm sorry. You know, but I just couldn't forgive myself for it. I would keep blaming myself for everything that happened. And, you know, to forgive yourself, you have to love yourself at the same time. And I didn't do that either. I hated myself for what I did to Kylie, to, you know, my teammates, to everything, to myself. And it took a lot of time for me to actually forgive myself and say that, you know, it's a new start, you know. You know, I've forgiven myself, I'm moving on, and I'm going to try to be the best person that I can be. So what I'm trying to say is that no matter what you go through, everything can be overcome. You know, no matter what it is that brings you down, you know, God can really help you and pick you back up. Because if you'd have told me that when everything happened that I would now be a Christ follower and, you know, as strong in my faith as I am right now, you know, I would have laughed at you because I thought I was going to kill myself. I didn't think I would be here right now to even say this. So, believe in Him. trust in Him. And realize that whatever goes on, it's not His fault. You can take responsibility for what you do, your own actions, and do your best to fix them. Because no one's going to fix them for you. And I'm not saying that, once you start being a Christ follower, everything is perfect and you're happy forever now, because the temptations are now stronger. Everything is so much harder. Try to be in a relationship right now with Kylie without having, the other girls and everything else go on. Everything is hard enough to stop it without being a Christ follower. But with it, it just feels like it's so much harder because you want to be so much better. So don't take it, me saying that everything is perfect afterwards, because it's not. But it's much better than it was without Him. And I thank God for Kylie and her family and the people that, didn't judge me for what I did, for everything that I've done in my past. The people that really took me in and wanted to help me without hurting me. And those are my words of wisdom. Thank you for watching Words of Wisdom with Gunnar Fondren. Please like and share, and tune in next week for the next Words of Wisdom.
On my own, I know I'm not strong enough to be everything that I'm supposed to be. I give up. I'm not strong enough. Hands of mercy, won't you cover me, Lord? Right now I'm asking you to be strong enough. Strong enough.
So what makes you want to do this?
Well, I want to be a motivational speaker, when I get older, doing that on the side. So, if I can start by, helping somebody, go through
Yeah.
kind of what I went through before they get into it or after.
Mm-hmm.